Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we are going to talk about the psychology of scarcity and how it drives our financial decisions. I'll share a personal story. In 2014, I bought a residential plot of land in India, and that too on mortgage. I was influenced by a famous quote often attributed to Mark Twain: "Buy land, they are not making it anymore." It sounded logical. Land felt scarce. Land felt permanent. Land felt like safe long-term investment for my retirement. More than a decade later, the reality is different. The current value of that plot has not even beaten inflation in India. In real terms, I have lost money. At the time, it did not feel like a bad decision. It felt sensible. It felt conservative. It felt wise. But looking back, I can see the psychology at work. The idea of scarcity, the fear of missing out on a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, the comfort of popular wisdom instead of careful analysis. This is how many financial mistakes happen, not because we are careless, but because subtle psychological forces shape our decisions in ways we only understand years later. That brings us to the deeper question: how often do our financial decisions come from clear thinking? And how often do they come from psychological traps like scarcity? The fear of missing out on a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. So let's dive into the scarcity mindset. Scarcity is not only about lack of money. It is often about the perception of lack. You can earn well, you still feel behind. You can save consistently and still feel anxious. Time scarcity plays a role too. People feel they are late to investing, late to building wealth, late to retirement planning. This creates pressure, and pressure leads to rushed decisions. There is also attention scarcity. We are flooded with financial content, market news, social media opinions, conflicting advice. When attention is fragmented, we default to emotional decisions rather than thoughtful ones. This is not a lack of intelligence, it is a psychological response to overload. So now let's dive into impulse spending and limited time traps. Scarcity is one of the most powerful tools in marketing. Only 3 left. Offer expires tonight. Last chance to join. These messages are designed to bypass reflection. They create urgency, so we can act before we evaluate. This affects everyday spending. It also affects investing behavior. People chase hot stocks because they feel the opportunity is disappearing. They enter speculative assets because others appear to be getting rich quickly. They commit to financial products they do not fully understand because the window feels small. Many financial scams rely almost entirely on artificial scarcity. Urgency replaces analysis. Emotion replaces patience. So now let's dive into how scarcity harms long-term wealth building. Long-term wealth building is built through consistency, not urgency. Scarcity thinking pushes people to buy when prices are euphoric, sell when prices are falling, jump from one idea to another, abandon long-term plans for short-term excitement. Wealth building is simple in principle. Save consistently, invest in productive assets, stay invested for long periods. Let compounding work quietly. Scarcity disrupts this process. It introduces impatience. It encourages constant action. It makes stillness feel irresponsible. In investing, unnecessary activity often does more harm than good. So now let's dive into how to shift from scarcity to abundance thinking. Abundance does not mean careless spending. It means trusting the process rather than reacting to fear. An abundance mindset in finance looks like this. You focus on systems rather than predictions. You invest regularly instead of trying to time markets. You accept that you will miss some opportunities. You prioritize long-term direction over short-term noise. This mindset supports patience. It supports discipline. It supports consistency. Those traits matter more than any clever strategy. So now let's dive into practical ways to reduce scarcity-driven decisions. You can reduce the influence of scarcity with simple habits. Introduce waiting periods before large purchases. Automate savings and investments. Limit exposure to constant financial noise. Maintain a written long-term plan. Review progress periodically rather than daily. It is about reducing emotional volatility around money. So in closing, self-awareness builds financial strength. Scarcity itself is not the problem. Unexamined behavior driven by scarcity is. When you understand this psychology, your decisions change. You see marketing more clearly. You react less to noise. You stay aligned with long-term goals. Wealth is built quietly through consistency, through patience, through thoughtful behavior repeated over time. That process begins not with strategy, but with awareness. If this perspective resonates with you, consider subscribing to the channel. This channel focuses on clarity around money, behavior, and long-term thinking. Thank you for watching.